Welcome back to Short Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Avenue, Dave Crossan with you. And Dave, it is time to feel alive. Always time to feel alive. But you know what? Whether it's whatever your caffeinated beverage of choice is, drink it up. Or
you're going to need it this morning is basically what you're saying. Okay, fair enough.
Well, you think about it, right? What coffee or caffeinated tea
right?
Or the energy drinks do for you to kind of get you pumped up and ready to go. Dave's financial wake-up call will do that for you here on Sunday morning.
I thought you were going to say I have the opposite effect. I'll actually put them to sleep. All right, great. All right. Well, I tell you what. This is an important topic, and I had a couple really interesting phone calls from listeners. And again, for all the listeners out there reaching out, I certainly appreciate it because that's what this segment is all about. People have questions, different things that they're dealing with, and they're putting it out there for me to maybe address on the radio. Or, of course, people can call me at Shoreline Wealth Management anytime, and I'll give out my contact information at the end of the segment.
Something to look forward to.
There you go, buddy. See? A little teaser to the end. People are like, okay, buddy, here you go. It's unfortunately in this area, there's a lot of fraud. And what I mean by that is, people are reached out in different ways to commit to providing information. And so something bad can happen. They can get access to a bank account, their social security number, whatever it is. So what I'm going to go over right now are different types of fraud that people should, if this happens in any way, do not respond. And let me just kind of go with number one here. You receive an email. So Vin, picture this. Let's say you get an email from the bank that you use, and it says, hey, we're just verifying your information. Kindly put in your social security number or your account number. There may have been some activity that we have a question on, but just to confirm it's you, Vin, please confirm this information. First of all, never do that. So think about what's happening here. The financial institution is asking or telling you that something may have happened with your account.
Right.
But before they can continue with the conversation or the emailing back and forth, they want to confirm it's you. So it seems legit, like, oh, yes, so they're on it. I better respond. They want to confirm my bank account number, my social security number, my date of birth, whatever it is.
Sure.
And people see that because they get concerned. They get nervous, like, oh, boy, what's going on here? And they go ahead and quickly provide that information and think about what's happening. The people committing this fraud are now getting your information. You think that they're reaching out to you. And it's amazing when you see an email come in, and it looks so much like, say, the bank that you belong to. Like maybe the symbol is similar but a little bit different, and it looks pretty legit. First of all, if that ever happened, there wouldn't be a situation where they'd ask for your personal information on an email.
Yeah.
So if you receive that type of information, a couple ways to handle it. Number one, do not respond. Reach out to that institution. Reach out. Okay, you got this email. You don't know how to handle it. First of all, do not provide any of your personal information, bank account, whatever it may be. Reach out to the bank. Or better yet, if you can, go in there and say, hey, you received an email. It looks like there may be a problem. Right away, that will be addressed. And in that case, it'd be like, you know what, that isn't a legitimate email. Or if there was an issue, it wouldn't be handled in that manner. So then you're thinking, well, Dave, okay, if you're telling me you get an email like that, I should ignore it or go into the actual office or the branch where you do business.
Right.
What if I receive a phone call? That must be legit, right? You receive a phone call from a bank that you do business with.
That
and
sounds
says,
convincing.
Yeah, hey, Vin, we saw some activity on an account we're concerned about, but before we get started, can you confirm your bank account number, your social security, to make sure that we are indeed talking to Vin? Okay, and then you're like, oh my goodness, what's going on here? And you provide that information. There is a second way for fraud. This way, it's actually a phone call. What you do in that situation, if you receive that phone call, you say, well, thank you for the information. I will take it up with my local branch. And that's exactly what you do. You go to the branch or call the branch and say, hey, you received a phone call. Is this truly an issue with my account? Is there something going on? You contact the source. Do not put information out there because that's what somebody is trying to get. Think about it.
Right.
They get your bank account number. They get your social security number. They get your birthday, whatever it is. If an email or a phone call comes to you and asks for any of your personal information, do not give it. go directly to that financial institution and have that conversation and alert them, hey, you received this, what's going on, and address it directly with that financial institution. Vin, this is a big one, and it happens too often where people get this call. Congratulations. Does that sound like a good congratulations voice?
You sound like a game show host.
There you go. You have won the lottery. Yay,
Yeah.
Here we go. You won the lottery. And here's how it works. We get your bank information and we simply take money for the tax. And the funny thing is they'll tell you you won millions, but they'll say it's only, $3,000 of tax. We need to take it from your bank account. Well, first of all, those numbers don't work. Second of all, there wouldn't be a situation where they would ask for tax money ahead of time.
Right.
Again, you're so excited. Oh, this is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah, sounds
I
good.
won the lottery. We just need, however, Vin, before we give you the prize, we show up at your front door with the big check. We need your bank account information, your social security, so we can properly register the information and make that deposit into your bank account. Of course, we need to subtract tax. So if you see a transaction subtracting $4,000, that's processing fees, that's tax that you owe, and then shortly after that, you'll get your money. Now think about this. You receive this phone call, you're excited, and too many times people give out that information. They're beyond excited that they're like, you know what? Here's my social, here's my date of birth, here's my bank account number, here's all my information, and that's another way that there could be fraud. And again, like I mentioned before, they may tell you there's going to be a subtraction for the tax, the fees, whatever, for the processing. So even when you see that deduction, oh, but the money's coming afterwards. The lottery winnings are coming, and it never happens.
Right.
So again, a situation like that, again, this lottery winnings, get as much information as possible. Typically what I would say, please give me your name and phone number, and then I'll get back to you. Get as much as you can and report that to the police. Now, again, think of it this way. If somebody calls me and I'm like, oh, that's great news that I won the lottery, please provide me your information. I'll call you back to give you everything that you're looking for. What is your phone number? Who are you? What is your direct extension? Whatever. Most times you'll get either a click or like, we'll call you back later. Report that to the police.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a phone number that it comes in. And again, unfortunately, these people committing fraud, they're very clever. The phone number that comes in, they're able to have it come in, you got it, in a way that's not the true phone number. So with that, again, do not provide any information. Okay, then this is a terrible one, but it happens too many times with a lot of the seniors.
Certainly a nightmare scenario for a lot of people.
I got another one. How about this phone call, Vin? Vin, your granddaughter, your grandson have been arrested.
Oh, yeah, that's
They've been
unfortunately
arrested,
a popular one, too.
And you know what? We need bail money or we're going to hold them overnight.
Right.
This is terrible. And they'll be like, you have to provide us bank information or your grandson, your granddaughter is going to be held in jail overnight. And you have to provide it or else. And think about for a grandparent. That's scary. Like, oh, okay, what do you need? Here, quick, here's my account information, please. Here's my credit card. Here's my bank information, whatever it may be. And again, there's fraud.
Yeah.
One of those situations. Now, if that came to me, that call, I'd be like, all right, first of all, I don't have a grandson or granddaughter, but I'd almost be tempted to say, put them on the phone, which, of course, that wouldn't be the case. But honestly, in this case, get as much information as possible. Do not provide that information. If that was truly the case, number one, they wouldn't be asking you for bank information. They wouldn't be asking you for your credit card. In that type of call, with that type of call, I'd be like, all right, what police station? What is your name? What phone number? Give me more than just I need your information. Get as much as possible from this person calling. And again, you'll find that eventually they'll hang up or they'll provide you information that's not accurate. Any information you get on this, again, reach out to the police and let them know. But that's
police
a big
wouldn't
one.
Make that call.
That's a scary one. That's a scary one because somebody's reaching out to you saying that your granddaughter, your grandson, your whatever the relationship, there is an issue. Do not provide that type of information. Get as much information from the person calling and then report that to the police. Last one, Vin, this is a bad one. You get the phone call that says, hey, you didn't pay your tax from 3 years ago, and we're going to put a lien on your property, seize your home unless we get that tax money. Now, first of all, the IRS would never put it to you in that type of situation where, like, you didn't pay your taxes on your property and we need that money right away. You would get a letter. You would get an opportunity to respond to it. This would be something where you would take that to your CPA, to your accountant, to look into what is being asked. But you would never get a situation from either the state or the IRS saying you owe back taxes and that you have to pay it right then and there, or they're going to seize your property, take your property. Again, that's more fraud. Yeah. Never provide any of your personal information. Again, I'm going to end it on this note here. When you get any call that is asking for any personal information, bank account, Social Security, whatever it is, never give it out to the source without knowing the source.
Right.
And always get as much information as possible and report it accordingly, either to the police or if it's regarding a bank account and them wanting information on the phone, or the fraud person or institution that's calling you, is to report it or go to the institution that you're doing your banking with and ask them, hey, is this legitimate? What is going on?
Yeah, listen, law enforcement agencies have special financial crimes units. It was actually something that former Monmouth County prosecutor Chris Gramiccioni brought up way back on our first show as well, because these scams, some you could tell are a little phony with different spelling or grammatical errors, or
correct.
Where
it
the
looks
email's
legit,
coming
but it's
from.
a little bit different.
Some are a little bit more sophisticated, where it looks legitimate, and certainly to your point as well with the phone calls. Because of the spoofing, the more times you pick up a spam call, it manipulates your number.
Correct.
And then you get, it's got my area code.
Yes, that must be it.
It must be somebody I know, or somebody. Correct. Not always the case. So, and you know what? And again, to your point as well, when in doubt, check with the police department, the financial institution. Make sure you're covered. Don't give out that information.
Never give it out.
Right.
Get as much information from the person calling, and then go right to the source.
Exactly. So now, Dave, this is a very, very important topic and something that everybody needs to know and, talk to your family members about as well. Dave, for people who want to talk to you more about this, obviously they could email the show about show stuff, shorttime@townsquaremedia.com. But if they want to dive in deep on this to make sure that they're doing everything, they know everything, where can they get in touch with you at Shoreline Wealth Management?
Phone number 732-902-7880. And, of course, you can go to shorelinewealth.com. We have offices in Manchester and Manahawkin. I know this wasn't a fun topic, but such an important topic.
Absolutely.
That people just have to be careful out there.
Yeah, it's, there's some people who do evil things out there. Dave, appreciate you bringing this up and, willing to talk, certainly with more people. So call Dave. You have some questions, you have some doubts, call Dave. He'll help you on that journey as well and give you that financial wake-up call that you all need. We got more of the show coming up next. We have Kelly Conklin Sr., a retired Toms River police officer who a couple years back in 2019 put together Superior Protection Professionals, an armed forces agency that helps provide protection within the community all over the shore. He's got stories to tell from different things over the last couple of years and to why he put this together, also with his son and others, in providing that protection for you as well. So Kelly Conklin Sr. coming in just a couple minutes. Right here, Short Time, 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. The opinions voiced in the show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. This information is not intended to be a substitute for individualized legal advice. Please consult your legal advisor regarding your specific situation.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
Whether you are in the early stages of investing, getting ready to retire, or planning your estate, you need a financial planner who will guide you on a clear path with honesty and transparency. Shoreline Wealth Management provides clarity through the complexity. Shoreline's system is straightforward. They will understand your financial circumstances, identify goals, analyze current plans, and customize a path to position you to reach your goals. Shoreline Wealth Management is your financial anchor. Visit shorelinewealth.com for more information today. Shorelinewealth.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
Hi, this is Southside Johnny from the Asbury Jukes, and you are listening to Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. And I'm in the Hall of Fame.
Welcome back to Short Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Avenue, Dave Crossan with you, and joining us here this hour is Kelly Conklin Sr., a retired Toms River police officer who back in 2019 began Superior Protection Professionals, an armed security agency that's certainly grown over the last couple of years, and we're here to talk about what Kelly and his staff do, and certainly the importance of providing protection, especially unfortunately in the age of different shooting incidents across the country as well. So, Kelly, want to dive into a lot of different topics here and get your perspective on so much. But first, I just want to say welcome in.
Well, thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to start with your origin story, so to speak. Kind of like Wolverine, and so to speak. They have the whole Marvel movies, right? And then they separated. Like, okay, how did he become Wolverine? Well, Kelly, obviously, I know you served a bunch of years with the Toms River Police Force and retired to obviously start up Superior Protection Professionals, but in a short way of describing it before we dive in deep here, what are some of the services that you offer? What is it that you do with Superior Protection Professionals?
Well, we have armed and unarmed guards, and we operate in all of New Jersey. And the reason we started was back when there were a lot of church and synagogue shootings. And, my son and I felt we had to do something about it. And being a retired police officer, I said, you know what? It's got to be something dear to my heart that I have a passion for, and it's got to have a positive, meaningful change in people's lives. So we figured if we're out there protecting people, we're doing something good. So back in the spring of 19, we started Superior Protection Professionals.
And I know we've spoke in the past as well, briefly on this as well, with different scenarios in which you and Kelly Jr. and the rest of your staff have gone out on different calls or different assignments to provide that kind of protection. What kind of environments do you provide armed security or non-armed security for?
It's everything. We have armed, unarmed guards, and we're in all different venues around the state, whether it be retail, private parties, schools. It could be an amusement park. We've had so many different, literally from an old lady who was having a tree cut down in her yard. She hired us because her neighbors didn't give her a hard time.
Oh, wow.
And from that to executive protection to, sitting on homes when they have domestic issues or, just anything that someone needs to be protected at any time, we have our guards there ready.
Do you obviously, I know you from being on the force, so you've gone through it as well, but in terms, I guess, of a de-escalation with those incidents, domestic or neighborly dispute or something much more serious, what are some of the things that you do communication-wise to help de-escalate a situation or prevent anything from getting worse?
Well, all our guys are very well trained in de-escalation. They're all not the majority are retired police officers.
Okay.
And we have some active guys on the roster also. But for the most part, when I mentioned domestic violence, it's not during an incident. It's after an incident has happened, the police have handled it, and the person fears that person coming back at some point. So they'll hire us to basically post up in front of the residents round the clock sometimes, and just to make sure that they don't get harmed after the incident already happened. So,
have you found that there have been a lot of those incidents since you started this agency?
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, domestic violence has been around, and I think that with the lockdown, I think that perpetuated it and caused a lot of issues that have really kind of, it's been sad to see. And so when June of 21, when Jersey opened back up, we really, really got busy. And we were slow during the lockdown because we were fairly new at the time when the lockdown happened. We didn't have a solid customer base prior to the lockdown, so we really didn't have much going on. But when it opened back up, it's been crazy. And, we can't find enough guys to work, and we have a decent amount of guys. But, so we're hiring also. In addition to this, we're hiring armed guys, we're hiring unarmed guys. We're looking guys who are, for guys and gals who are willing to work and ready to work. And if you don't have your SORA card, which is the license you need in Jersey to operate as a guard, you call us and we'll help you. We'll talk you through the process.
How many armed security guards or just security guards would you need on like a given assignment, or does it really depend on the situation?
So it depends on the situation. We actually just picked up, it's kind of like Comic-Con, but it's for The Office, the TV show The Office. That's up in Secaucus, I believe. They have a big fan show, so they're hiring about 10 of our guys for that. So we'll be working that. I think that's August 6th and 7th that weekend. But there's details where we've had 12 to 14 guys at a high-end party, all in suits and ties. Then the majority of the details are 1 or 2 guards, mostly in uniform, but there's times where they request. Let's say that, Vin, you're firing Dave.
Uh-oh.
And you're afraid to fire him.
He's been wanting to, but
sorry, Dave, I had to throw you under the bus there. But, there's times where for high-risk terminations, they hire us to basically be there when they're firing someone that that they're afraid of.
Process.
And we come in, whether it's uniform or plain clothes, 1 or 2 armed guards, and we just make sure no one gets hurt in the process. And then we'll typically escort that person out of the building if there's any issues.
Do people typically want your presence known by being in uniform, so to speak? So it's like one of those situations where, hey, here it is.
Yes and no.
Okay.
So it's a good visual deterrent.
Okay.
To be there to prevent something from happening, but also if someone sees it, it could escalate the situation just by your presence, saying, "Well, why do you think you need an armed guard to fire me?" So we leave that up to the client. We make suggestions, but at the end of the day, it's up to them whether they want uniform or plain clothes.
Do you typically suggest?
I suggest plain clothes.
Okay. Okay.
To keep the situation kind of calmer.
Got it.
But unless it's a known, he's going to fly off the handle, there's no doubt about it, then a uniform. So right out of the gate, they know they don't, don't mess up because there's someone here.
Now, in those situations, how do you, what are the reactions, I guess verbally, physically, in terms of, if it comes to a point where you have to physically restrain somebody because they're posing or are a threat in that particular moment?
Well, first and foremost, our job is to protect life and property.
Sure.
And that's what we're hired for. We're no longer police officers. If it gets to something where the law is being broken, we'll call the local police department. But if it's in a situation where we have to act immediately, then, again, our job is just to make sure that whoever hired us doesn't get hurt by the threat. And so but de-escalation is first and foremost what we look to do. And, we're pretty good at it. And we really haven't had many situations that that have gotten really bad that we've had to diffuse. So we've lucked out so far.
What kind of physical, training would you need or do you need, you or anybody else on there to kind of stay physically ready, physically fit?
Well, when you get into the job of, we'll say, being a police officer, okay, your expectations are that at some point you're going to have to, I've had guys say, "Hey, listen, you know what? I don't have to work out. I'm a good talker." And my response to that is, well, you know what? Not everyone understands your language, or not everyone wants to talk. So you have to be able to, protect yourself and protect others. So, I think it's very important. I've lived my life around, taking care of myself and exercising and training. And, one of the things so when I run ads and I Facebook posts or social media posts looking for people to hire, we look for people who have, strong integrity, who take care of themselves, who are, they're courageous. And, we look for wrestlers. I wrestled in school. My older boy, Kelly Jr., wrestled in school.
Hey, there you go.
Our younger son, Michael, he actually is a field supervisor for us right now while he's home from college, and he's a college wrestler.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, and all our other guys who are retired cops went through, some sort of training, and hopefully they continue on taking care of themselves, going to the gym, and because it could take one time in your entire career that you need that to walk away.
And what about, because you mentioned earlier with, possible round-the-clock protection in, outside homes in certain situations. But what are the things that you do, the things that you'd be looking out for to make sure that the focus is always zoned in on, and that, throughout the course of a few hours, you don't get too tired or whatever, or there's guys switching out during doing sort of like shifts?
Yeah, that's a good point. Good question, actually. It's tough sometimes, and our clients will come up to us when we're standing post somewhere and say, you must be bored, and the answer is, yeah, it gets boring, but that's a good thing. Boring for us is good.
Right.
If there's action, that means there's a problem.
Right.
So, we do our best, and we hope for a nice, quiet shift, so to speak, but you have to keep yourself awake. That's one of the things when you have an overnight shift. We just picked up a new apartment complex, and we had 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. up in Monmouth County last week, and we brought on actually 2 new guys for that, and they stay awake all night, and they foot patrol around, and it's actually it's when you work an overnight shift, it sounds scarier than it is. You actually can stay awake. You keep yourself busy and do things, but you have to keep your head on a swivel because you never know what's going to happen.
In those situations, do you get the full briefing, I guess, from whoever is looking for protection? Say, here's what happened, here's what I fear might happen, here's a little bit about this individual to give you guys an idea about what could happen or plan for any possible scenario?
Of course. I mean, it's very important to get the backstory when someone hires us and to find out who the threat is, what the threat is, how real a threat might be. I had a phone call about a week ago from a guy who said, I need a bodyguard. And I said, okay, well, why do you need a bodyguard? He said, well, I had an incident. Well, you got to give me a little
bit more information.
Yeah, because we're going to have to do a background check on you before we let you hire us. And it turns out that he had, quote, something in his car that someone stole. And, I just smelled danger all over that one. And I said, you know what, bud, you got to find somebody else because we're not going to get involved in anything that sounded fishy. So, yeah, you have to do due diligence. You have to get the backstory and find out what exactly is going on so that you can be best prepared for any threats that you might encounter while you're working.
Does that happen a lot where somebody reaches out to you, you interview them, and you're like, this is not something we need to get involved in here?
It does. It does.
Okay.
And, we don't, on that note, too, we don't do bars. We don't do nightclubs. I don't want to put our guys inside of a bar. You don't want an open carry gun inside of a bar. If we do work, we have a real nice place. It's called the Waypoint up in Brielle. And it's a beautiful restaurant with a nice outside patio bar. No DJ, no band. It's just nice people having dinner, and they overlook the Hoffman's Marina there. And so we're there every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with 2 unarmed guards. And they're just there. They like the optics of it. They're being responsible by having, our presence there. But for the most part, we don't, if it was a bar, nightclub type environment, we don't get involved in. But we like to know kind of what's going on before we step in.
Kelly, I want to get your thoughts on armed security situations, especially following the tragic shootings in schools across the country this year and in the last few years. But Dave and I have to step out for a break. Can you hang with us?
Absolutely.
Awesome. More Short Time with Vin and Dave and Kelly Conklin Sr. with Superior Protection Professionals right after this.
Hey, this is UFC Championship fighter and Toms River High School East alumni Frankie Edgar, and you're listening to Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. Dave and Vin, these guys are the buzz.
Let's face it, investment concepts and financial planning can be very intimidating and confusing. Shoreline Wealth Management addresses that feeling head on. Their goal is to educate you while offering financial advice without buzzwords and jargon. Shoreline includes you in the process and makes you comfortable every step of the way. Shoreline Wealth Management is your financial anchor. Visit shorelinewealth.com for more information and start your financial journey with comfort and security today. Shoreline Wealth Management with offices in Manchester and Manahawkin. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC.
Welcome back to Short Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Avenue, Dave Crossan with you, and with us here this hour is Kelly Conklin Sr. with Superior Protection Professionals. We've been talking about armed security and unarmed security that Kelly and his agency provide all across the state, not just here in Ocean County. Kelly, obviously it's been a scary, tragic, unfortunate trend. I don't even know there's the proper verbiage to describe the shootings in schools and office buildings in the last few years. And I know it's something you've become passionate about and trying to help people prepare in the God forbid event that something does happen. And I know you've got these, special kind of bulletproof backpacks and everything. So with regard to the backpacks and just kind of different schools and offices looking for protection, what are your thoughts? What is it that your agency can provide and help people with?
Well, again, our company was formed to protect people, and our guards operate in all of New Jersey, but not outside of Jersey. So we were thinking of a way that we can have a farther reach and protect people even in the absence of our guards. And a great way we came across was there's bulletproof backpacks out there. And it's a very difficult subject to talk about. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. But the reality is that there's bad people out there looking to harm good people. And quite often they use handguns or rifles, to carry that out, unfortunately. So we've been looking for a very good company to partner with to sell their product. And AR500 is the backpack that we chose. It's a reasonably priced backpack, and it protects against all handgun rounds. And actually, it's the same. So the sewn-in panel in there, ballistic panel, is the same threat level that police officers wear on their routine patrol.
Okay.
I don't like the word routine patrol because it's one of the things you never say when you're a cop. But
right.
when they're on patrol. So it stops all handgun rounds, could stop 6 rounds from a .44 Magnum. And we also sell the plates that you can slip into your favorite backpack or your laptop carrying case and have some form of a shield to protect you in the event of some sort of tragedy.
Yeah, I'm seeing what you brought in today. I mean, just the weight is normal. It's not like
right. Surprisingly, yep. There's soft panels, and so there's 3 models. There's the XS, which is a smaller one, which my wife actually carries. She's a nurse, and she carries it to work as her pocketbook. And we have a clear one. And the first day she brought it to work, the women were really raving about it, saying how cool it was. And when she told them, well, by the way, it stops bullets too. They couldn't believe it because it's not like it looks different because it's a ballistic backpack. Looks like every other high-end, cool backpack.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at it, it looks like a regular backpack.
Right. Yeah. And then that's the small one, and it's good for kids or, as my wife used it for a pocketbook. And then we have the mid-size Phoenix, which kids can use for backpack in school. It carries books. It has a very big front pocket. And again, that stops all the handguns. And then we have the Firebird, which is the larger one, which me, my 2 boys, my daughter's boyfriend carry those. My 2 daughters have the Phoenix, which is the mid-size one, and a nurse and a teacher, and they use them for work. They won't go to work without them. Wow. So it's, listen, and no one knows what it is. They just think you're carrying a backpack.
Yeah.
But the sad reality is shootings happen. And as much as people say, well, we shouldn't have to need those, we shouldn't need those, we should get rid of guns first. In my lifetime, I can't see guns disappearing. Whether there's more strict rules or regulations or laws, they're never going to go away. And the people that are going to listen to the gun laws are the good people. Right. That leaves the bad people having a free reign of whatever they want to do. So we sell the backpacks. We have a store on our website, which is SPP, securityinvestigations.com. You click on, you go to the store, you can see all the bags that we have, various colors, various styles. And you know what? This is a way that we can help people. We can protect complete and total strangers from afar when we're not around. And we do sell nationwide. And I think it's a very good thing. There's people people don't know they exist, never heard of them before. And then they're a little apprehensive when they do hear about them until they figure out that they just look like normal backpacks. And if you're going to go school shopping, we'll say if you're going to have a child carry it in school, like my son carries his in college, my younger, he's a sophomore in college, and he carries that's his backpack. So it's just something that, again, difficult to talk about, but it's, we live in the reality that we have to deal with what's out there. And, it's not the perfect world that we all wish it would be. Right. As much as we all wish there'd be, no violence. There's bad people, and we're there to protect you from them.
I know 2 schools in particular in Monmouth County and Middletown and Howell are working with the local police department in providing armed security in schools. And I guess it's a conversation that different school districts are having with their local police department and everything. But is that something that your agency would provide as well to, I guess, schools or office buildings and providing that armed security?
Yeah, so we have armed security in schools. We have schools as clients. And, Chief Little here in Toms River does a phenomenal job protecting our schools. The parents don't worry, knowing we have a great department, it's where I retired from, and great guys, and he's fully prepared and has fully staffed up to handle anything. And so office buildings, and this is something where you carry to, now we're talking about the backpacks again, you would carry to, and there's grants that would cover this too, under, I think it's called security items. So if there's a school looking for a grant, or you can apply for this and put it as a line item and get money and coverage for this. We just donated a bunch of them to the Toms River School District. Okay. And, it's going to be handed out to the children. And, then if other parents hear about it and would like one, we certainly can help them out with getting them. But, yeah, this is, if let's say you're on a subway, you're traveling to the city to work, a lot of people wear the backpacks in front of them. And when they're sitting down, and if there's, how the crazies that are out in the cities now, and they're walking down, and God forbid something happens, someone pulls out a handgun, if you crouch down with one of these in front of you, I mean, you're covering basically, if you have the Phoenix or the Firebird, your whole head and all your vital organs. It's kind of, and the way I describe it is when you go out, you get in your car, you put your seatbelt on, you go for a ride. The hopes are you don't get in a car accident.
Sure.
Right.
And it's unlikely. It's unlikely, but the reality is you might get in a car accident. If you do get in an accident, you're trying to lower the risk of you getting seriously injured or dying in that car accident. And risk mitigation, that's what it's about, the seatbelt. So here, this is not going to cover your entire body. But if I had a shield, if I was in a situation where I was looking to survive, I want to increase my chance of survival and have a ballistic shield in front of me if I can't run, because it's run, hide, fight. And if they find you when you're hiding,
Right.
And you got to fight, at least you have some sort of shield to maybe stop a bullet or two from. Listen, it's tough to talk about, but it's something that
Right.
we feel we have to educate people about, to let them know these are available out there. These are a good thing. Don't demonize them. Demonize the bad guys. Okay, these are there to help you and help your loved ones survive a deadly and potentially deadly encounter.
Certainly, I mean, the armed security and the unarmed security, I know there's a lot of different types of crimes that can occur, and a lot that you would help work to prevent as well, including with electronic type crimes where people are trying to break into stuff. So how would you protect offices or banks from those types of crimes, electronic wise?
Right. So we opened another division of our company a few months back, the electronic division we call it. It's burglar alarms, fire systems, it's surveillance cameras, key fob entry doors. We do all commercial. It's all commercial, and we do that nationwide also.
Okay.
So now our guards are restricted to just Jersey. We have Jersey licenses. We sell the backpacks through our store and our website nationwide, and we do nationwide installation of electronic, again, security cameras, alarms, key fob entry doors. We do that nationwide also. And all that information can be found, again, on our website, sppsecurityinvestigations.com. And again, listen, I mean, I'm the owner of the company. My son's vice president, and anyone who has any questions about the backpacks, any clarification of any kind, if call me. My cell phone, my personal cell phone is 908-783-1939. I would be more than happy to personally speak with you. And if you're looking for guards too.
Right.
And what we like to do is, there's a lot of guard companies out there, and you have to make yourself different somehow. And, you have 24/7 access to the owner and the vice president of the company. And, our customer service, I think, is second to none. And that's something that we pride ourselves on, in addition to having top quality guards who are highly trained, highly skilled, and capable of handling just about any situation that arises. And in
particular, because we've talked a lot this segment about some scenarios where guarded protection would be necessary or possible in the event of something happening, but whether it's electronics or stuff we talked about in the beginning, following a domestic dispute or disturbance or anything, what are some of those type of instances that you guys, again, would help provide protection for, to help people, at least at the very least, be able to sleep comfortably at night? Are you seeing a particular trend of non-gun related crimes that you're being called out, your agency is being called out to help with?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, they like to hire us as a deterrent. So most of these places hire us as a good visual deterrent. And then in the event that something happens, we're there to take action. But I mean, we just got picked up by, there's a regatta that's happening in August, I believe. So they hired us just to make sure. And also, we like to say that we give people a peace of mind. So,
sure,
when they're there, if they're at their church or their synagogue praying, if they're, at their retail store shopping, you don't want to have to worry about something bad happening. And when you see a guard, a uniformed armed guard or an unarmed guard, you feel better. You have a peace of mind where you can do those things without worry. And that's something we like to provide. And we had last summer, he actually sold it, but we had a jet ski business that we worked. And it was great detail. I mean, it was right on the bay. It was beautiful. And so the first day that we worked there, because there were some customers giving him problems before he hired us. And I remember he was sitting down with his wife at his little picnic table there and a couple of the employees. And he said, he goes, how much better do you feel? He's talking to his wife and the employees. He goes, we can focus on running the business now and not worry about problems. That's what he's here for. So we handle the problem. So we look to take stress and aggravation off of your plate. And we'll handle the problems. You focus on your task at hand, whether it be running your business, sitting home watching TV and not worrying about someone coming to break in your door and harm you. And that gives us a good feeling. And one of the things that we say too is, when we're working a job, we say we don't know what we don't know, meaning that maybe someone came up to whatever location that was with intentions of harming people there. Okay, maybe a target-rich environment, a fair or a regatta or a church or a school or something. And they maybe came out with the intentions of causing harm, saw one of us, left, went back into their basement under the rock, never to surface again. And we don't know if we did something good that day. So having that feeling, and that's why we started the company, it gives us a good feeling to know that we're giving people a good feeling, a feeling of security and safety. And, in the event that something does happen, that we're able to keep them safe or keep their property safe. So that's what it's all about. It's just about doing something good that has a positive, meaningful impact on people. That's why we're here.
Whether it's individuals, schools, businesses, churches, places of worship, or something else that's looking to hire you, or certainly as a preventative measure, if anything, and not as much of a reactionary, just so that people aren't retaliating or anything. But regardless, where can people again get in touch with you to hire your agency to help provide that protection?
So you can go to our website, which is sppsecurityinvestigations.com. That'll tell you all about us, everything we offer on the electronic side. We have our store for our ballistic backpacks, and we also sell like the carriers and ballistic carriers to police departments and other security agencies on our website also. We have a store that we just put up probably about 3 weeks ago. And you can call me directly with any questions. My phone number is 908-783-1939. If you have to email us, it's kpconklin209@gmail.com. And you're going to hear back from me or Kelly Jr. directly. And any questions or anything you need, we're here for you.
Awesome, Kelly. I appreciate you coming in.
Appreciate your time.
Discussing certainly everything you do and providing some examples and stories, if you will, of times where you've been there and different scenarios where your agency would provide that protection for people.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity for you bringing us on. Thank you so much.
That is Kelly Conklin, Senior Retired Toms River Police Officer, and with Superior Protection Professionals. More Short Time with Vin and Dave coming up next.
Hi, this is High Performance Executive Coach Dana Cavalier and former Director of Strength and Conditioning for the New York Yankees, and you're listening to Shore Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. It's always great to hang with champions, and these two guys are champions.
Let's face it, investment concepts and financial planning can be very intimidating and confusing. Shoreline Wealth Management addresses that feeling head on. Their goal is to educate you while offering financial advice without buzzwords and jargon. Shoreline includes you in the process and makes you comfortable every step of the way on your path to financial freedom. Shoreline Wealth Management is your financial anchor. Visit shorelinewealth.com for more information today. Shoreline Wealth Management, with offices in Manchester and Manahawkin. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
Welcome back to Short Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Avenue, Dave Crossan with you as we conclude another great show here. Short Time with Vin and Dave. We've had some good ones so far.
Yes,
another good one
definitely
today with Jeanette Roma coming in, drug recovery coach. And then we just had Kelly Conklin Sr. join us just a couple moments ago from Superior Protection Professionals, discussing armed security, unarmed security. Obviously, we've hit on a couple topics today from a perspective on the drug epidemic and finding recovery and helping people find recovery, and being that voice in the community like Jeanette is, and then with Kelly in providing those discussions as well, those communication, de-escalation, whether it's outside a home, stores, offices, schools, different buildings. And he provided a number of different scenarios, including, you're letting somebody go, you're firing somebody who you feel, I guess, is a little bit bitter.
There's so many different situations, exactly.
They provide that for you. And obviously with the backpacks as well, that they're starting to give into the communities as well, where you can get it. They're bulletproof backpacks.
Right.
And
that
he
you
said
put in
his
front
wife,
of you to protect you, especially like your head and your vital organs.
And he, obviously for schools, but obviously he said his wife is a nurse and she brings it to work, like a smaller version of it. He brought up the point on the subway where you could bring it.
Right.
So, I mean, it's important. It is unfortunate, tragic that we have to have these conversations,
Correct.
but they do have to be had to at least discuss preparation, preparing for a scenario that you hope, God forbid, doesn't happen, but better to be prepared.
Right. And I think the key thing about it, and just looking at the backpack, it's of a normal weight. It's not like something where it's heavy where, if somebody got into that situation, at least it's some form of protection. He mentioned a subway or something where, at least get behind this. Also, too, I think he mentioned if you wanted your regular bag that you have, there's shields you can put into the bag that you already own. Mm-hmm. So depending on what you want. But, to your point, yes, it's a tough conversation, a conversation you don't want to have. But this is the world we're in right now. And if there's something that can give a person a better chance to survive something where there is gunfire, somebody can get behind it. And if that worked or at least limited the damage to that person or the impact that would have on somebody, it's good that we had this conversation. To let people know there are options out there, like what we're talking about, like with the backpack, to provide some extra form of safety or an extra cover, if you will. Yeah,
they provide guarded, unguarded protection, uniformed or plainclothes protection. Obviously, and he's a retired Toms River police officer. There are police departments all across the Jersey Shore and beyond are certainly keeping on top of things and providing that protection. Prosecutors' offices, sheriff's offices, law enforcement overall. This is just something to help provide that extra protection at home, and it's certainly everybody's doing their job and everything, and this is providing that armed security or unarmed security if you want the little extra protection after the investigation is over.
Or if you're having a gathering,
you feel safe. Right.
You want people to say, okay, you know what? We want our guests to have a good time, the extra protection, or at least if somebody saw that, somebody was there, that to deter them from maybe taking an action. Whatever it is, things are so challenging right now with different events that are going on that, for people getting together in a big gathering, that extra protection would, in a lot of cases, make people feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, one of their slogans, too, feel safe, be safe. Be prepared. I'll add, be prepared to, do what you can to be safe. Protect yourself, protect family, friends, coworkers, people you're around. So I think
and the other thing he brought up,
at least have the conversation.
It doesn't just have to be a gathering. He mentioned something where, let's say, it's at somebody's employment where somebody's being let go and you're afraid of the reaction. I mean, you don't even think of these things, but if it provides that extra protection to deter somebody from taking an action, that's why those services are there.
Yeah, be prepared, be safe, have that conversation. If you don't end up going that route, that's okay, but be prepared, have a plan, just in case obviously something, God forbid, happens. If you want to learn more about Superior Protection Professionals, Kelly gave it out a couple times, but his number is 908-783-1939, or you can email him kpconklin, CONKLIN 209 @gmail.com, and either him or his son Kelly Jr. will get in touch with you and help you learn more information about Superior Protection Professionals. Dave, we got a great show coming up next week. It'll be show number 26. That'll close out the month of July. So July 31st, next Sunday.
Yes, it's a big
show. Last day of July, show 26. We'll close it out. We got a couple good guests on deck for you. Check our website and our app this week, and we'll let you know who those guests will be. Until then, Dave, have a great Sunday, a great week ahead.
You too, my friend. Stay well, and all the listeners, thank you.
Yes. Have a great Sunday, a great week ahead, everybody. More Short Time with Vin and Dave a week from now on 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. Until then, we're out.
Good things.
Hi, this is Christy Pierce Rampone, former U.S. women's soccer team captain, Olympic gold medalist, World Cup champion, and Point Borough High School alum. And you're listening to Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. Tune in for some real conversation with Dave and Vin. You don't want to miss this.